Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. So just going to give you an update on some more transfer news. So reportedly Manchester United are eyeing up a double transfer swoop for next year. So reportedly we're going to go in for Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho. They are two players on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. You know, they are obviously both going to cost us a substantial amount. I do believe Erling Haaland will cost us in the region of around £85 million, and Jadon Sancho will cost us in the excess of around £100 million. So there's nearly £200 million there on two players. But I do believe the football club anywhere are orchestrating on spending a substantial amount next year. And obviously, recruiting new players, because I did initially say we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. So I've been reading recent reports about Erling Haaland, and reportedly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed a personal scout to watch Erling Haaland, because Solskjaer is keen on recommending him to the football club. Now, Erling Haaland is a striker. I think he will be a good, adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because, we do look very, very exposed in that attacking line following their departures. I also do believe the beneficial thing about recommending Erling Haaland in is that obviously he's already played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his short period with Mould, and Solskjaer's obviously keen on reuniting with the player, but he is only 19 years of age, and he's obviously proven himself this season with Red Bull Salzburg. He's obviously been a prolific goal scorer, and I think if he comes to Man United, he can replicate what he's done this season with Red Bull Salzburg, because Red Bull Salzburg this season he's scored 26 goals in 18 games in all competitions. I think 77 goals have obviously come in the Champions League. So what a player he is. But I would be excited about the prospect of him playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Daniel James and Anthony Martial. But yeah, like I said, we're going to have to pay around £85 million if we've got any chances of getting him. Like I said with Jadon Sancho, I think I updated you about it yesterday, or was it the day before? It did actually say, we are regarded as the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho. It's probably imminent. If we are to get him, it will be next summer, not in January, or it could perhaps maybe be January. But I think Jadon Sancho did say that he wants to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. So I think he's intending on spending this season with Dortmund, then I think, obviously, he does want to leave. There isn't only Manchester United in for him. There is quite a few other clubs in for him. Liverpool have showed their interest. PSG, so too of Real Madrid. But I think, we are regarded as the favourites. But, we've been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. Was in for him during the summer. We also identified him as our top priority back in January. But obviously our move never materialised for Jadon Sancho, mainly with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. And obviously, when you're not in a Champions League football anywhere, it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. But yeah, my overarching view on Jadon Sancho is that I think he would be definitely the right calibre player for Manchester United. Only 19 years of age. He's obviously he would obviously fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because I do believe that Solskjaer is keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the course of the summer. Now, he's primarily a right winger, and during the summer, we wasn't in for a right winger. But he can also, play him centrally. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund got Jadon Sancho for next to no. They only paid around £7 or £8 million for him. But obviously, analysing his couple of years, he has been with Dortmund. His valuation has persistently grown. And obviously, he did serve a couple of years with Man City. But the reason he left Man City, this is the fact. why he left is because he didn't get assured first team opportunities. So this is why obviously he had left Man City, but he's done well during his time so far with Borussia Dortmund. He's been a revelation in Germany since his arrival from Man City back in 2017. But anyway, even if he didn't leave at the end of the season, Borussia Dortmund, he's obviously not going to intend on spending the rest of his career with Borussia Dortmund. But I'd love, to recommend him in to Manchester United. So yeah, they're going to cost us nearly £200 million, are both of them. We spent a substantial amount during the course of the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on 3 players. We paid £18 million for Daniel James. We paid around, £50 million for Wan-Bissaka, and we paid around, £80 million for Harry Maguire. But, like I mentioned, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. But it is very, very imperative next year that we can get the right calibre players to the football club, and that obviously we can address all the problematic areas. During the summer, we did address some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre half in. We also got that right back in. But one of the priority areas, where we do need to strengthen up, we do need at least one midfielder. Some people believe we need 2, but we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. So we probably need 2 midfielders, and obviously regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, whether he stays or goes next year, we still need to add depth in that midfield. But yeah, it's still a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, and Solskjaer anywhere has been assured that he will be given money to spend next year. Because Solskjaer will be here at the end of the season. That's obviously assured. He definitely will be here in January. Don't forget Solskjaer has got a 3-year contract with the football club. He'd been given this 3-year contract when he had been given the job in March, which was obviously earlier on this year. I can almost assure though that he won't see out his 3-year contract. Like I said, my perceptions will start to change regarding Solskjaer. If we can keep this good run of form up until January or until the end of the season, then I may feel as though then he's the right man for Manchester United. But until then, my perceptions, will not currently change. But obviously, even though we have rejuvenated ourselves recently, you could say, there's still the vast majority of Man United fans, that don't want Solskjaer out. You're getting some Man United fans saying that, we should give him at least, a couple of more windows, to make further more investment and to, see who else he can recommend into the football club. Because like I've said on numerous occasions, analysing the vast majority of this Man United team, it isn't Solskjaer's. There's only 3 players there that are Solskjaer. So you can quite frankly say he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. But yeah, so I know we have actually rejuvenated ourselves recently, and in the last 6 games or so, I've seen a variety of changes at Manchester United. Disregarding the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth, since the Liverpool game, we have done really, really well. The performances have been good. The results have been positive. We've been scoring more goals. Recently as well, we've seemed to be creating more chances because, analysing it in the vast majority of the games this season, we have been struggling to create chances, and, that's actually been an element of concern. This is probably the explanation why we haven't been scoring enough goals for the vast majority of this season so far. But recently, we have created a lot of chances. Obviously, we have scored more goals. Certain more players have stepped up to the plate as well. Like I recently, put into the equation, Rashford has recently, rejuvenated himself. I have been very, very happy with Marcus Rashford recently, and I think he scored 8 goals in his last 8 starts at club and country, so that just indicates how much he's rejuvenated himself. He's now scored 54 goals for Manchester United as Marcus Rashford in all competitions since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016, and now this is Marcus Rashford's 4th season in the senior squad with Manchester United. and he's still only 22 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. I think Martial's been absolutely superb, since he come back from injury, but like I did say, he does have more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch. Like I said, some aspects of Martial's game do replicate Rashford's in that, sometimes they can play like the same, they can obviously play in the same positions in that. Martial is definitely more effective in that number 9 position. That's where you see the best of him. I know analysing the majority of his tenure at Man United so far, he's played out wide, but I think he's more effective in that number 9 position, as he has proven that, in the games he has played in this season. Martial's been a long-serving player at the club now. He's now into his fifth season at Man United. He's scored around 53 goals for the football club in all competitions. But he's been very, very good this season, so I'll praise him for that. Daniel James has been a revelation for Man United this season, like I mentioned. He's been a surprise. I'm actually, there's a couple of reasons why I'm surprised, because I'm surprised to start with, with the amount of games he's played. Because, I did say actually, when we signed him during the summer, I did expect him obviously to play, but I didn't expect him, to be a, first choice regular. Especially not straight away. But obviously, reflects on his good performances. Obviously, Daniel James has been constantly, playing. Don't get me wrong, there's probably still some aspects of his game, that do need to improve and that, but you can still say he's a prospect and he needs time to develop. Does Daniel James? I think Daniel James this season's played in 19 games for club and country, 16 games for Manchester United. Solskjaer recently revealed that he had concerns, with his fatigue at the club. Solskjaer obviously rested him against Partizan Belgrade, because obviously Solskjaer, was fully aware that he obviously, has been more playing Daniel James. But yeah, very, very good playing. If he keeps his good run of form up, then I think his valuation will persistently grow. So fair play to him, and and also, we've showed a lot of tactical flexibility. That's also very, very good. And, to be fair, in that aspect, I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because as you all know, for the vast majority of this season, a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, have obviously, been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because obviously, he has been tactically naive. So recently we've shown a lot of tactical flexibility. For the vast majority of this season anyway, we've been sticking with that 4-2-3-1 formation. We've been going that regularly this season. Obviously Solskjaer's tried a few different elements, to turn his managerial tenure around. Like I said, he tried a couple of different formations, didn't he? He went with 3 at the back a few times in the game against Liverpool and Partizan Belgrade. And, he seemed to look really, really good with 3 at the back. But, our usual formation is the 4-2-3-1. I think on the odd occasion this season, Solskjaer has gone with that 4-3-3. But yeah, I've seen a lot of changes, quite recently. And like I said, we're only 12 games in to the Premier League season. So there's still long way to go. There's still a lot of twists and turns to come. We've won 4 games in the league so far this season. We've drawn 4 and we've lost 4. So we've obviously registered 16 points from a possible 36. We are now sitting 7th in the league, like I mentioned, because before the 3-1 win against Brighton, we were sitting 14th in the league. So I did say that was a game, obviously, we had to win. But, we still remain around 9 points behind top 4. And I'm very sceptical about us getting that top 4 this season. Because I did mention at the start of this season that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4. So we can obviously, get back into the Champions League and that. And, we could still get it, but I've actually fully disregarded it. Like I mentioned, I think our only route to Champions League football for next season is progressing in the Europa League, basically. And the positives is that, we are in the Europa League we are in the Europa League knockout stages. We've still 2 games to spare, so that's obviously very, very positive. we're also in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, so they're also, some positives. But Solskjaer did recently say that, our league form has got to improve because we've won more games, or we've won as many games in the Cup, than we actually, have in the league. But yeah, I've seen a lot of variety of changes, recently, and I think, affecting on our good run of performances, recently in results. I think a lot of the pressure, would have eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously, maybe after the Bournemouth defeat, maybe the pressure went back on him, but especially, before the Liverpool game, Solskjaer, was under intense pressure at the football club. You could arguably say that the Liverpool and the Norwich game, saved his managerial tenure at the football club, because if we'd have suffered heavy defeat to Liverpool, then we'd have lost to Norwich, that probably then would have been enough to sack Solskjaer. Obviously, either way, if we do decide to sack him in the future, and we won't sack him now anyway, but if we did decide to sack him in the future, either way he's going to cost the club a substantial amount. We'll have to pay quite a bit of money in compensation to get rid of him. We probably wouldn't have to pay as much, to get rid of Solskjaer, as we did do to get rid of Jose Mourinho. But I think, the club will stick with him for now, definitely. They will stick with him now. But like I said to you, there's obviously other players on our agenda, who we could go in for next year, who have actually updated you on. Obviously, I give you the news recently about Mario Mandzukic. I think it's very, very imminent that Man United are going to sign him in January. There's been reports from the mainstream media saying, that we could get Mario Mandzukic before, the January transfer window, dependent on if we can reach an informal agreement with Juventus. Reports have said that Mario Mandzukic has allegedly, decided to join Man United in January. This is what he has decided to do, and reportedly recently the Juventus chef flown out to England, to hold talks with Manchester United and that. But Mario Mandzukic wants to come to Man United. He could start training with the football club in December, and reportedly, we don't have to pay in the region of around 12 or 13 million pounds for him. So you can say, obviously, he's a cheaper solution, is Mario Mandzukic. And the only element of concern I've got about us recommending him in is that, he's age 33. That's the element of concern, because you could arguably say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. But prior to that, I think he's a good signing, because he can score goals, he can be effective in the box, and he has proven this in the time he's been with Juventus, and he hasn't played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance this season at Juventus, so obviously he's served his two requirements anywhere. But I think he's going to be our first signing in January, more than likely, and he's going to be our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So looking very, very imminent. He's going to be coming in, and I think we're orchestrating on giving him around an 18-month contract. So that's another player that's looking like who's coming in. Moussa Dembele is also one of our potential targets. Again, I think he would be the right calibre player for Man United. Moussa Dembele. We was in for him during the course of the summer. He wasn't one of our main priority targets. So what I mean is, we was tentatively linked with Moussa Dembele. But I think, the beneficial thing about recommending him is that, he's had experience of playing in the Premier League. He began his senior career with Fulham when he was younger. Then obviously, after Fulham had a good couple of years with Celtic. And now obviously, he's at Lyon, and now he's into his second season now with Lyon. Lyon did pay around £20 million to him from Celtic last summer. And he's still got quite a few years left of his contract with Lyon. I think he's under contract with them until 2023. So he's another attacker on our agenda. And the good thing is as well, he's an out-and-out number 9. But yeah, that's definitely something that's got to improve. Our recruitment has definitely got to improve, because like I took into account, my recruitment has been very poor for several years. Not only recently, for several years. So that has definitely got to improve as my recruitment. But I did say, due to our inconsistency anywhere for the vast majority of this season, everybody has got to take, some responsibility. I think from my own perception that the vast majority of the blame does stem from the board, because the board have been a liability for several years in that, and I think we need to get rid of our current board and recommend a new board in. Also, the board didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, during the course the summer, as they did actually assure. But I think one thing the board did assure at the start of the season was that Solskjaer's job, will be safe for this season regardless of the outcome, because they realised that they didn't back him enough. But yeah, I think we need to get rid of our current board. Ed Woodward, he replicates the board because he's also been a liability for several years, and I just don't think he's, you can rely on him, you can rely on him to oversee our transfer business. So I think we also need to get rid of him. Like I added into the equation as well, I still believe these more players that do need to leave Manchester United, because I still believe these players here that are no longer good enough to represent the football club. And I know a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, but these still more players that need to go. From my perception, I think we need to get rid of at least another 4 or 5 more players next year, definitely. And I definitely believe Young, he needs to be moved on. He's one of the players that definitely needs to be moved on. Because, he's now past his sell-by date at the football club. Young is now 34, he's 35 next year. It was a mistake from the football club last season, giving Ashley Young that new 1-year extension. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player, and he's been here 8 years as Young. I'm surprised he's lasted this long, and these question marks regarding Solskjaer on that. Why is he been playing Young on a regular basis this season? So these question marks around that. But yeah, he's got to be moved on. Jones, I think he's definitely one of the problematic players, and I think we also need to move him on. Phil Jones, because I've got a lot of element concerns about him. Again, it was a bad mistake from the football club last season, giving Phil Jones that new long-term contract. Jones is now into his 9th season at Man United. This is his 9th season. He has been here 8 years. But he's been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young, because they've both been here anywhere since the Alex Ferguson era. But yeah, we've got to get rid of Phil Jones. Marcus Rojo, like I said, people will have different perceptions on Marcus Rojo. I think Solskjaer is keen on keeping him, and he's revealed the reason why he wants to keep him, so he's preventing him from leaving the football club in January. So I think, probably won't be staying for the long-term future, Rojo, but probably will be staying for at least this season. Don't forget, during the course of the summer, he was subjected to intense speculation. There was quite a few clubs in for him. Also, don't forget, Everton had inquired about getting Marcus Rojo, but it didn't happen. Because I think Everton were reluctant to pay what we was demanding. They just basically couldn't come to an agreement on a fee, and that's it. And Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with the club. He's predominantly a centre-back, but he can play in various positions in that back line, so his versatility is very, very good. He is 29 years of age, but for me, maybe we do need to move him on. Definitely Nemanja Matic, he's one of the problematic players. I think, we've got to consider, getting rid of him next year, because I have got a lot of element concerns about him. Even when we first signed him, I had an element of concerns about him, because at the time we signed him from Chelsea back in 2017, he wasn't even our first choice signing. He was like our third choice signing. Again, we overpaid for him. We paid, was it around 35 million up front with 5 million add-ons, which did potentially rise it to 40 million pounds. But he's lost his place in the team mainly due to his inconsistency. And he's too slow, makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, and he's too easily predictable. And we're definitely not going to recruit the money that we paid for him from Chelsea, I can guarantee that. We could actually lose him on a 3 anywhere at the end of the season, because his current contract does come to an end. his current contract, does come to an end at the end of the season. But I think we do actually have an option to extend it by a further year. But I'm obviously very, very sceptical that Man United will extend his contract. So he's definitely another one of the players that needs to be moved on. Some people will say, we need to move Jesse Lingard on. And like I mentioned, he's enjoyed a really, really difficult time this season as Jesse Lingard. And, like I mentioned, reflecting on the number of years he's been at this club, reflects on his status at the football club overall. He should be putting much more better performances out, but he's actually been a huge disappointment. But my own perception, he's still a long-term solution for Man United. So definitely another 4 or 5 more players do need to go next year, without a shadow of a doubt. I did give you the news, didn't I, regarding Chong. It was earlier on this week. I gave you the news regarding Chong. And there's been a change of scenery because now reportedly Chong has decided, not to renew his contract at Manchester United. He decided not to renew his contract at Man United, and allegedly he's informed the club that he will be leaving at the end of the season. And reportedly the club the team that are interested in Chong is Juventus, so they are looking to get him on a free transfer at the end of the season. Now, Chong's only played a few times this season. I think Chong's played on like 4 occasions for Man United, so he hasn't played that much. Obviously, Chong, broke into the senior squad last season. He made his competitive debut in the FA Cup game against Reading, made his Premier League debut in the 3-2 win against Southampton last season, and made his Champions League debut against Paris Saint-Germain. And obviously, was it a month or so ago, maybe even a couple of months ago now, I think it was before the season started, was it, if I can remember rightly, he did say that he had received loan offers from PSV and Feyenoord, that's his former club, but reportedly he had turned down them loan offers and wanted to remain at Man United for this season, but now reportedly he does want out in the football club. But I did say anyway, it would be beneficial for us, to get rid of some of the young upcoming players next year, because obviously not all of them, are going to become a fruition at Manchester United. Like I said, Chong is totally comparison to the likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Alex Tuanzebe, perhaps maybe even James Garner. You can also put him into the equation. So I think the youngsters that need to go next year. You could say maybe Chong needs to go. Perhaps maybe even Angel Gomez needs to go. Don't forget he was injured not too long ago. Angel Gomez's appearances have been limited. He hasn't played too much. So maybe we need to get rid of 2 or 3 young upcoming players next year. That would be beneficial. But analysing it overall anyway, we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to basically improve at Manchester United. And I can definitely assure the young upcoming players that will become a succession at the club is definitely Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Tuanzebe, and perhaps maybe even Garner. So I can say they're going to all become successes at the football club. With Mason Greenwood, I think eventually maybe he will overtake Marcus Rashford. Maybe he will. Obviously, I think his comparison to Rashford at the moment, I won't put Greenwood on like Rashford or Martial's level as yet, but as he develops more, I think, he will end up overcoming Rashford, and I think he'll eventually become a better goal scorer than him. So what Scholes said the other week, I do actually agree with him on that aspect. But Mason Greenwood, don't forget, he's only 18 years of age, so he's still only very, very young. Obviously Solskjaer did reveal that Greenwood's still learning the men's game. Obviously compared him to Robin van Persie, saying how their finishing is similar. But Mason Greenwood, in the games he's played in so far this season, he's done well mainly, and he's replicating what he did for the reserves last season. These question marks around Solskjaer, why is he not yet started Mason Greenwood from the start in the Premier League? But I think he will get given a start from the start in the Premier League game eventually. I've been very, very impressed with him. And, Brandon Williams, very, very good. He did well on his full Premier League debut for the football club in the 3-1 win against Brighton. Did you know, Brandon Williams? And I think he's played around, 4 games so far this season, but you can definitely say that left back has been confirmed. Left back's been confirmed now. It has been confirmed as left back, because I think now we've got to say, and a lot of Man United fans will agree with me on this, that Brandon Williams is a much better solution than Luke Shaw. Despite the fact that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back and he's been our first choice left back for a number of years, and I think he's definitely a much better solution than Ashley Young. Ashley Young does predominantly play on the right, but a few times this season he's also played on the left. But fair play to Brandon Williams. Like I said, I know I've got a lot of element of concerns about our midfield, but to be fair, I think the likes of Fred and McTominay have hit the ground running especially Fred. Recently his performances have been very good. Solskjaer did confirm that Fred obviously will take Paul Pogba's position for a while, but Fred has done really well. To be quite fair with you, and Solskjaer praised him for the fantastic performance he put out in the 3-1 win against Brighton. Did really well, and Fred even admitted that Solskjaer's backing is behind his improved form at Man United, and obviously he's trust of the manager is very important. This is obviously coming from Fred's perception. But yeah, fair play to him. I'm obviously sceptical about him being a long-term solution for Man United and that, and I don't know if Fred, can keep this consistency up, but fair play to him recently. We paid just under £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. Again, we overpaid for Fred, but we know in recent years anyway for overpaying for players. But, Fred needs more time at the football club. He has only been here since last summer. So we need to definitely give him more time, because obviously not every player does settle in. Not every player, does settle in straight away. And my overarching view is same on, McTominay. He's done really well, for the vast majority of this season. And he has obviously, been a consistent starter, but he has deserved to keep his place in the team anywhere, reflecting on his impressive performances. So fair play to Scott McTominay. I do believe that, McTominay and Fred are totally comparison mainly, because I think they're two different types of players, but they've blended very well together in that midfield, especially recently. So I do credit them for that. But fair play, Andres Pereira. I think he needs more time at the football club. There's some games this season where he's been very poor, and there's some games where he has actually played well. But for the vast majority of this season, or all season should I say, in the games he's played in, he has operated in that playmaker's role, but still give him more time. So yeah, we have got a hell of a lot of youngsters in the squad. We've still obviously got quite a lot of injuries, so obviously reflecting on the amount of injuries we've had this season anywhere, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. Obviously some. What are you doing?
Did you piss all over the toilet, Rose?
No.
My dad must have done that.
No.
My dad must have done that.
Bells was saying he's made a lot of alterations in the squad, reflecting on the amount of injuries we have had. this season and that. But he did confirm, obviously, after the international break, that there will be more players coming back from injury. He did say Matic, Tuanzebe and Luke Shaw all should be back after the international break and that. And I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Paul Pogba. Earlier on this week, and his ankle cast has been removed. He travelled to Amsterdam, didn't he? Don't forget. To have his ankle cast removed, so he's now closer to recovering from injury. Is Paul Pogba. But he's missed the vast majority of this season with this current ankle injury, and he has been a big miss in that midfield. Give you the news, didn't I, regarding McTominay recently, and he's going to miss the games against Man City and Tottenham. I think that's assured. He's got an ankle injury. I think he initially had scans on his ankle to find out the extent of the injury, and it's actually no more severe than we actually know first feared. So he's also going to be a big miss. He obviously had to withdraw from the Scotland squad, Scott McTominay. So yeah, I think reports emerged out saying that he could be out for at least a month with injury. Obviously, Bay's out until the end of the year. Fossil Mensu is still out. Yeah, so we have still got quite a lot of injuries, but like I said, it'll be good to see Shaw, Matic and Tuanzebe back after the international break. But yeah, Diego Dalot, he's another player out with injury. He's sustained quite a few injuries this season. Is Diego Dalot? I do believe when he can get back into the team, he will get more opportunities, even though he isn't our first choice fullback. I think he's out with a leg problem at the moment. I think it's unknown when Dalot, will be back in contention. But yeah, we have still got quite a few injuries in that. It is Sheffield United, by the way, after the international break. That's going to be a pretty tough game, is Sheffield United, because they've done well this season. I praise Chris Wilder. He's done a really, really good job. Chris Wilder, has taken Sheffield United from League One to around 5th or 6th in the Premier League. So he has done a really, really good job. Sheffield United is going to be a difficult game. As you all know as well, the vast majority of our squad flown out. They're flown out to Dubai for a warm weather training camp, don't forget. But yeah, so more players should be back for the Sheffield United game. Just want to give you some news regarding the director of football as well. I've actually been updating you about that on numerous occasions. Because I think, Man United need a director of football, and that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see at the football club. Because don't forget, we was in for the director of football during the course of the summer. Obviously, we didn't get one, which was a shame. There was a few former Man United players linked to it. There was Ferdinand Evra, Darren Fletcher and that, they were all linked to it. But I did say if we had to get a director of footballing, we need someone to come in who knows the traditions of the club, someone who's got the right philosophy for the club so they can recommend the right calibre players in, and someone, who would be reliable to obviously our transfer business. I know there was speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week, but now I just want to give you some latest news regarding Edwin van der Sar. I think he's now being disregarded. He's been disregarded of becoming Manchester United's technical director because, according to Sky Sports, he's just signed a new contract as CEO at Ajax. So he signed a new contract with Ajax. So obviously, now Man United, I presume, won't be currently getting him. But I did say, he would have been the right candidate for the football club. Don't forget, there was a lot of reports the other week about Ralph Rangnick, who's head of sport and development at Red Bull. There was talks about him coming in as the technical director. There was also speculation about him possibly replacing Solskjaer at the football club. Because it said the other week we travelled to Germany for this meeting with Ralph Rangnick, and actually it was Ed Woodward that had scheduled the meeting, but I still believe, we need a new director of football and that. But like I said, Solskjaer has been now at Man United around 11 months overall. So he has been at the football club just under a year. He has been permanent manager for around 8 months now as Solskjaer. 8 months. And obviously for the vast majority of that 8 months, it has been very, very poor. Totally comparison to what I saw, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period. But yeah, it does sometimes, take time. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager, obviously, was that 3-1 win against PSG last season when we did overcome a 2-0, two-goal deficit. And, we performed a miraculous comeback, and I do credit him for that. But yeah, so maybe he does need more time with the club. And like I said, Solskjaer was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years here. Flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that, and one of his most iconic moments as a player was back in 1999 when he scored the winner to win his the treble, and that's obviously one of the club's greatest achievements. As a player, Solskjaer made 366 appearances and scored 126 goals, and that's something else I credit him for. But I think he's got that proven pedigree as a player. But obviously, as a manager, his comparison to as he was as a player, because I've got element of concerns about him as a manager because he hasn't really, got that managerial experience. So that's obviously, an element of concern, definitely. I think, Man United have made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and I think one of the mistakes, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not, whether to give him the job. That's what, Man United should have done, really. But like I mentioned, reflecting on the size and the potential and, the history and the money that's been invested into this football club, we should be in much more of a commanding position, than we're in now. And I think a lot of people are aware of that. We should be at least challenging for that top 4. But, I did actually, say, didn't I, at the start of this season that, I didn't expect us, to win the league this season or mount any kind of title challenge up. Because like I said, analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league, and it isn't good enough to mount any kind of title challenge up. And I think it's a long process. I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next couple of years. It is dependent on how, competitive we are in the next couple of windows. But I think anyway, our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. But one thing I did say at the start of this season, that I did expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we enjoyed last season. That's definitely what I said at the start of this season. That's what I did definitely say. But we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years. But there's still plenty of time to turn things around. And like I said, Ed Woodward still insists 100% that he's backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way, because he did actually recently assure that his job is safe at Man United. But like I said, 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. David Moyes got sacked after 10 months in the football club. He only had a short tenure with Man United. And like I said, we've made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and this is probably the main factor why we have been a toxic football club. But it does play a part in it, definitely. But I think that's one of the mistakes Ferguson made, and it's only the mistake he did make was obviously recommending David Moyes in, because obviously he recommended him in at that time. Van Gaal. Well, obviously before we got Van Gaal in, when we got Van Gaal in, we had different perceptions at that current time. We thought it was going to work out under Van Gaal, but it didn't. Van Gaal just lasted just over a year and a half at the football club. He obviously won the FA Cup with Man United. Then obviously, after Van Gaal, we recommended Jose Mourinho in, and Jose Mourinho obviously had a 2.5-year tenure with the club. He's actually had the longest tenure at Man United since the Alex Ferguson era, and he won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with Man United. But I did give you the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, because he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top quite a lot of the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club last summer, and there wasn't like his philosophy just wasn't right for the club, and he didn't have any kind of transfer strategy. It was part of the bus football. But Mourinho is regarded as one of the best managers in the world because he's got a fantastic pedigree. He's won 25 major honours in total during his managerial career so far. But overall he's still a very, very good manager, but it just didn't work out for him at Manchester United. And like I said, Solskjaer's now our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. But like I said, the question is, can we ever be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson? And I'm sceptical about it. I'm sceptical that Solskjaer, can invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. But there again, regardless of who our manager is, I don't think we'll ever be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson, because under Ferguson era, he controlled a lot of the transfer policies, he controlled a lot of the contracts, he developed a lot of young players. Solskjaer's compatible to him in that aspect, because that's what Solskjaer's doing now, try to develop a lot of young players and recruit more young players in. But don't forget Ferguson, didn't win out in his first 4 years with the football club when he did get recommended in, so take that into account. But we know now we're not in the old generation, this is a new generation, obviously, where the boards are a lot more ruthless now, managers don't get the time that they would like. But I think our current board have a liability, like I mentioned, but they're softening their stance on Solskjaer because they know that he's a club legend. We've not disregarding being a club legend, and that maybe he would have been sacked by now. Arguably you could say that. So the main part of this video, was to give you, some more news regarding Jadon, Sancho, and Erling Haaland. Reportedly, we're going to go in for them next year. It's going to cost us nearly £200 million for the duo. Erling Haaland going to cost us around 85 million. Jadon Sancho is going to cost us around £100 million. So take that into the equation. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.